Hey, it's Kate Stillman with Yoga Healer, and I wanted to continue on this whole idea of some of the most basic imbalances of disease according to Ayurveda, which the more you look at it, the more it's really different than how Western physiology understands disease. So we left off in the last video talking about how this one big thing of like living out of sync with nature, living against our own nature, not eating good nutrients from nature, how all of this basically creates imbalance. When we look a little bit deeper at the relationship between Vata, or the wind dosha, the force of movement in the body, the force of even cosmic rhythm in the body, and we start to understand how we can synchronize with it, or how if we don't consciously synchronize with it, we're actually living asynchronistic with it, how that starts to trigger the most basic imbalances. And they can be huge imbalances too, like your heart might not beat in rhythm. So if we look at it from an Ayurvedic perspective, they say that 60% of imbalances are caused by this force of wind, by the force of movement in the body. And that's not a small number, that's a large number. And the other 40% are imbalances that are caused by inflammation, or pitta, or congestion, kapha. Right? So as far as like the force of actual movement or imbalances in movement, deficient movement, excessive movement, that's all in that 60% by Vata. So when we look at then what's the opportunity? All right, what's the opportunity for health, for wellness, for an evolutionary relationship to our physiology? From an Ayurvedic perspective, what we're looking at is that the cosmic energy, see, I've sort of portrayed that by the big puffy cloud, is breathing. As you inhale, it's like that big cloud's exhale is your inhale. The cosmic energy, or the energy of our cosmos that you inhale, right, that becomes your inner energy. That becomes your prana. Your exhale, right, is a release of that prana. So as you inhale, notice how that wind energy, it moves from your nostrils, it bumps up against your third eye chakra and down to your heart chakra, or the region of your lungs. And as you exhale, it moves back up, third eye chakra, and out. So now you might want to do this standing, but if you stand up and bend your knees and put your hands on your hips, and as you take a breath in, you stick your butt out and see how much breath can you get lower down in your pelvis. You might notice that you can really receive. And as you exhale, you can let your tailbone go down, and the energy will naturally go up as your diaphragm goes up. So that ability to really receive, to really be able to take in what's happening there, is that energy is able to go into the lower lobes of your lungs. And when that happens, there's an experience you should feel a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more in touch, a little bit more grounded. So if we don't have this going on and we're just breathing into this upper region of our chest up here, and we're not breathing into the lower region of our chest, or if our femur bones are too far forward, or if our pelvic bones are too close together, and there's not a lot of openness in this lower part of our pelvis, then the inhale can't go as deeply. It can't drop. If the inhale can't drop, we actually have an experience of stress. And we also won't be able to breathe as deeply, so our lungs won't be able to drop. The diaphragm won't be able to drop, and there's an experience of shortness of breath. There could also be some of these issues in the lungs, so you're going to have a greater chance of getting issues in your lungs, not being able to really use the lungs fully to oxygenate the blood. And your whole system is going to be in a little bit of a stressed out and compromised experience. And when this happens day after day, it can create quite a bit of tension in the upper body. And it can create as well, and this is crucial to get, a lot more negativity in the mind, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions. And this is huge, because if we really get this, if we really go back to this like big cosmic cloud in the sky, that as we inhale, if the femur bones can move back and apart, and if energy can drop, if the prana can drop in, that we're now in a relaxed relationship to life, and we actually feel the cosmic support, or the support of the cosmos that's intrinsic in the life force. We feel that in our body. But if we don't, and most people quite honestly don't, like most people have very shallow breathing, most people have a tightness in their stomach, they don't relax their stomach to breathe. That when that happens, that creates a tension, an unconscious usually tension that's against the life force. In just that initial movement of being out of sync, moving against nature, right? If we go back to chief cause of disease, living out of sync of nature, living against your your own nature, that is what triggers the whole realm of that 60% of things that can go out of balance. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you really get this, that there's a lot between this relationship of prana, of how energy is able to come in, and apana, of how energy is able to go down, and how the apana, if it's grounded, allows the prana to come in more deeply. And if you understand this, and you understand in yoga practice why it's so important to do hip openers, why it's so important to deepen the breath into the pelvis, because as we deepen the breath into the pelvis, we know that what then happens is actually we're able to deepen the breath into the lungs. And as that happens, there's more of the experience of this cosmic union between the larger universal experience and who we are and how we're able to show up. And it's from a place of connection, a place of support. When that happens, we're in a totally different plane of what will happen in the thoughts, in the mind, in the emotions, and our feelings. We'll be more in the positive plane than the negative plane. All right, it's been me, Kate with yogahealer.com, and I hope you've enjoyed this little lesson on prana, apana, vata, and the nature of the disease process. Okay, thanks so much, and come by and visit yogahealer.com for more free information.